Ooh boy! Oppression! My favorite breakfast cereal! But geez, how could I eat my favorite breakfast cereal of oppression without meaningless identity politics? And better yet, how can I even eat it at all without the spoon known as Oppression Olympics? Favorite cocktail of animal feces? What are we going to be talking about today? Well, we're going to be talking about something I've dubbed as Oppression Olympics. Now, what's Oppression Olympics? Very fucking simple. See, a lot of minorities, in fact, pretty much all of them, are oppressed in some way, shape, and or form to varying degrees and to varying extents and even to varying cultures, seeing as it can very much shift depending on where you are. However, despite still being all sprayed with the same fucking pesticide that is the government and basically any incentive to try and take down any bit of progressivism ever, people still feel the need to try and claim that they're more oppressed than the other, which, to be honest, is not exactly a good flex to put on somebody. Matter of fact, that kind of just shows how bad things are. One of the most common vehicles for this type of arguing that goes on that I've seen constantly, though, is identity politics. Now, you might have heard me say that in the last Clownish observation episode, and I assumed you probably meant what that meant, but I don't think I defined it nearly as well as I probably should have. To give like a quick crash course on what it is, identity politics is basically, using your own identity to say, oh, well, only this person or this group can say this, or speak on this issue. Never mind the fact that if it's an important issue, everybody should be able to speak on it. Especially since if more people do, maybe something could possibly get changed. Anyway, explanations off to the side, really. Let's get into what actually caused this whole subject of this episode. You see, a guy called Shredded Denim made this post, which we will read right now. Sometimes you'll see a woman on Twitter be like, gay men are still men. They benefit from the patriarchy. They're our oppressors. And you check her bio and she's posting from a country where being gay carries a 14-year prison sentence. He then followed up this post with a reply that kind of added on to his point, which we will also read. Just about every misogynist who's ever lived has a wife and countless women collaborators, but when a mother kills her 4-year-old son out of fear that he's gay, that's the toddler's own fault for not dismantling the patriarchy himself. Now, as for this whole point here, I generally agree with it, since it seems to me that it's about, like, a lot of those accounts that got revealed to be based in, like, fucking random-ass countries that are not in the US, yet claiming to be US citizens and indeed being based in the US, to which these accounts are almost always usually just grifting pieces of shit, just trying to further stamp out any possible bit of maybe progressive culture trying to shine through. While all of that may be true, I do still have some areas of which to this original post I disagree with, and that's mainly just the fact that yes, while a massive portion of misogynists are typically, straight men and such, there are still some, gay people or bi people, or really any other type of smaller demographic within this that isn't straight men that are misogynistic. While yes, they may be outliers, they should still be accounted for. Even if it is a smaller statistic than the wider group that does end up being, misogynistic in general, that being, straight men. But, of course, a bunch of people came at this post sideways, and it was, really fucking dumb! Let's get into it. This first post we'll be looking at was from, well, a person that disagreed with this guy. Let's go over it. What is your point? Gay men have the rights of men in those countries, which is likely more than she has. Aside from not being allowed in any romantic or sexual relationship, she's not wrong. How the fuck does a man in prison have rights? Women there are born in prison. Those men have to get caught. Oh, brother. So, a few fucking problems with this. Problem number 1. Your argument sounds like something cogent at first until you actually analyze it a little further. More particularly, yes, while gay men could be on the down low and, hide the fact that they're gay in these countries, that still doesn't change the fact that being gay either carries a prison sentence or, in the worst case, a death sentence. There's also just the fact that you're blatantly ignoring something very important when it comes to, well, systemic issues as a whole. Namely the fact that, while yes, people would inherently benefit from a systemic thing that benefits them and oppresses others, that is very much true. However, on an individual level, no, some people don't contribute to something like the patriarchy, for instance. Some men don't. Because it's in the fucking name of systemic oppression. Yes, some people contribute to the system. Abso-fucking-lutely. Let's not deny that at all. If I did, that would be fucking ludicrous. But also, to pretend the fact that, you know, being a man inherently means you're part of it, or, you know, let's think of even another systemic issue, racism, for instance. Being in a country where racism is prevalent, for instance, yeah, being born into there and being part of the people that are not being racially discriminated, that doesn't make you a racist. The same logic would reasonably apply if you are a gay man in one of these countries, or even just a man in general. This is just blanket statement identity politics pointed at another group for the sake of trying to claim oppression over the other, when by all fucking means, both of them are actively being oppressed, which is a bad thing, and not something people should be fucking going into a competition of who's more oppressed. I think at most, all this really does is, like, you know, further sow division within a country, which then leads to the people on top being able to continue to crush both of them using that hatred. If you want a current example of this, look no further than the United States, but let's not get too sidetracked here. Okay, this might seem like a yeah, no shit thing, but I have to kind of say it because otherwise it'll bother me if I don't. I don't know how to fucking tell you this, but women are not literally born into fucking prison, you donut! Though I get what you're trying to say, and what you're trying to say is equally as retarded. Yes, abso-fucking-lutely the shit that women have to suffer through in a lot of countries that tend to be very patriarchal and oppressive towards women, yes, that absolutely can be imprisoning and whatnot, but that isn't the same thing as being in fucking prison for being gay, you dumb motherfucker! This next post we'll be covering is, well, something. I feel like you need so much nuance and analysis, like being a gay man does not exempt you from a system or culture that is relying on the oppression of women. I understand your intentions, but you're acting like it's so simple and almost dismissive of both. Okay. So, how the fuck is he ignoring both sides when the whole thesis statement of his point here was that gay men were being oppressed? That sounds like he's at least acknowledging one of the sides. So if you understand his intentions, then why would you then go on to then make the assumption that he's being dismissive? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Also, I don't think anywhere he denies the fact that women are still very much oppressed. He was more commenting on the fact that a lot of these people tend to really come from places and whatnot that are actively homophobic. Are you fucking dumb? Which is ironic because the way you act is almost like you're trying to almost exempt them from being homophobic because of their culture relying on the oppression of gay people. Yeah. You look real smart. This next fucking post is a real treat because it actually comes from somebody who has a certain political view that we'll get into later after I respond. Oh joy! You don't fucking live there to be saying that shit. If being gay is a crime, then it's most likely misogynistic. You can hide yourself and be shielded by the patriarchy. But women are oppressed from the womb. Also, what do you think happens to lesbians, asshole? Let's break this down step by step here. Firstly, you don't have to live in a specific country or whatnot in order to call out its issues. I mean, they're just objectively there that you can make criticisms about. It'd be like if you told me I couldn't point out the fact that as of recording this right now, in Saudi Arabia's time zone, it is 2:20 in the morning. That's fucking ridiculous. Again, more meaningless identity politics because you can't talk about this unless if you are this demographic, which inherently shuts down the conversation entirely. Which, yeah, if you really cared about any issue that concerned people who were oppressed, like gay people or, you know, women or however it may be in another country, then maybe, how about you take your argument and shove it up your fucking ass? Because if you have more eyes on an issue, guess what? It incentivizes people to at least try to do something about it. If you don't, guess what? Things still stay the same, and we're all fucked! In any case, though, you get my fucking point. The last thing I really want to point out here is I find it very interesting that this person's profile picture is the biological lesbians loving only other biological lesbians only flag. You know, something that is inherently aligning with TERF ideologies and also just being exclusionary towards lesboys and such. Yeah, great fucking look for you. To which, by the way, a friend of mine ended up fucking ratioing this by turning this into the Peter Griffin pride flag, as pictured here. This next comment I find particularly interesting, if only because, the fucking irony. Let's read. And in those countries, women are married as children and raped at the highest rates. Let's not do oppression Olympics. Oh my god. The irony, alright? First of all, you say let's not do oppression Olympics, but yet here you were saying that they were more oppressed by saying that women end up having the highest, like, rape statistics. Yeah, that might be true, and that's really fucked up and sad, and my heart goes out to them, but, like, if you're not trying to do oppression Olympics and that's something you're decrying, maybe don't fucking engage in it? Like, hello? My final thoughts are this. Can people just grow a fucking brain in their empty skulls? Or, no. Better yet, can people just grow a fucking heart that beats? Because all this really does is take attention away from issues that I believe should be talked about in a less dishonest and less oppression Olympics-y fashion. You know, like how women are treated in the Middle East, or how gay men are treated in the Middle East. There's a fucking issue you could talk about without having to constantly fight over who's more oppressed than the other. You both are under the same fucking thumb. Stop fighting about who gets to be under it. Because that's exactly what the government and the patriarchy want you to fucking do. Another overlooked thing that I feel like people don't talk about as well with the patriarchy is that it also does affect gay men who are gender non-conforming and choose to dress a lot more femininely. You know, because the whole point of the patriarchy and misogyny as a whole is hatred and oppression of women or feminine things, because being masculine is the #1 priority in these sorts of things. And to sit there and pretend that they also don't get fucking smacked by the patriarchy nearly as hard is fucking insane! If there's any parting message here that I think would be worth saying is just, we should all fight for each other. We should all stick up for each other. Because, really, if you think about it, the people on top who want to continue oppressing us in different parts of the world, or even where we are right now, that's what they want us to do. They want us to fight each other, because that distracts us from the fact that they can continue passing legislation in order to further destroy us, in order to further make us more broken apart, so that way nothing can get done. You know? All that it takes, all that it really takes, is just a little bit of love. A little bit of love towards each other goes a long fucking way. Alright? None of us gained our rights by just being fucking mad at each other. We gained them by standing up and showing up for each other in our times of need. That's how we fucking did it. I'm Jester of the Moon. And if you want to give me a subscribe, and if you want to give this video a like, you can. If you didn't like it, you can even leave a dislike if you want. I can't really stop you. You can support me on Ko-Fi with the link down below. You can commission me for editing a video, or you can even commission me for drawing something for you, because I'm an artist. You can also just support me by just giving me money if you really, really, really want to. I'd appreciate it, but you don't have to. Also, I have my commentary group, Sanctuary of Independent Commentators. We just put out a newer video not too long ago, and I would appreciate it if y'all gave it some views. That's all. Y'all take care.